Afternoon, friends. Just had a lovely guitar dropped off at the studio or at the workshop. Another new client. It's come all the way from Birmingham way, somewhere out there, I think. And he's just dropped this off, and it's a Music Man, Honeyball Music Man L3 or Lukather LIII. Steve Lukather's signature guitar, and he's not very happy with it. And it's a brilliant guitar. I mean, come on, look at the neck. Roasted maple. Come on, roasted figured maple. Come on. Great figuring on the front too. Beautiful sparkly paint finish there. And his problems are tremolo's too tight, it's bolted back to the body. He says he thought it was stuck down with gaffer tape. I don't think it is. I just think it's got extra springs and it's screwed in a bit more. And he says the intonation is an absolute bind. You can't get it anywhere near. Which I find a little bit surprising, because I have got it very, in fact I've got it perfect. I've got it perfect. It may be just because there's old strings on there, my tremolo's not set up right. So, I'm going to have a quick look at it. He hoped he could stay while I did the work, but I said, look, I can't do that. I know you've come a long way, but I can't do that because I don't know if there's anything wrong with the frets. So what I am going to do is, we are just going to whiz off the back plate here. Like that. Get the screwdriver working the right way. We'll be fine. I'm just going to have a quick look and see what the story is behind this tremolo, because it is really difficult to use a tremolo, and he wants to use it, so we're going to take it, make it work properly, have it floating as it should be. Now, I'm not doing this right now, but I know this, so I'm going to take the other back plate off as well. So in effect, I'm working, we are live, even though I'm not broadcasting. So you're seeing this as it's the first time I looked at the guitar, apart from what I was going to tinker about with the intonation. So let's remove these screws. Should have a pot for these by rights, but I've not pulled one over just yet. Take off the back plate. Right, there's only 3 springs in there. So what we're going to do, we're going to keep 3 springs in there. That's how I like it. I'm just going to loosen the claw screw. So having a quick look inside. Oh, there's all sorts of goodness in here. Crikey me. I did not know that. So I wonder what all these buttons and things do. Nothing. Ah. That's a push-pull. Maybe that splits the coils. But look at this. It's got a preamp built in. I never knew that. See, I don't really... Look at that. There's something built in there. With mini... Well, not toggles. They are trim pots. 5 trim pots in there. What the heck do they do? Oof, I have no idea, you know. I don't really... Yeah, what's that one about? That's interesting. So there's 5 trim pots in there. I'm going to go and read up about it, aren't I? I'm going to have to do something for myself. But what I am going to do first is... I'm going to loosen these claw screws. Now, this is your claw spring. And they're screwed right in. And it's really hard to pull the tremolo down. So what I'm going to do is... I'm going to loosen them. For starters, because they're in way too much, that's why the tremolo is flat. Should I remove a spring? Let's take one out, find out. There you go, just pull one out. Now it's pulling forwards, look. So we're not going to be in tune now, but it's certainly going to work better. Let's just leave one in there. I'll tell you why I'm going to leave one in there, because now I can alter the bridge, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to have a look at it. Now, don't get all go whining. Go in. You shouldn't do that when it's under tension. It's got 1 spring on it. It's hardly under tension, is it? And it's bunkum anyway. Don't forget, they are steel. Steel inserts there. So let's have a look now. What I should have done is, I should have grabbed the tools out of the case. It would have been better. Would have been better than just fannying about with my tools here now. So bear with me a second, because I bet there's tools in the case. I've got a Music Man case down here, and there's a tremolo arm. There's no jeffing tools though, is there? Now look in there. Don't think he's had this guitar long. What's this? Strings and things. Oh, there's a key for the case. Oh, there's a set of instructions here. Let's see what that's all about. See what this is saying. Oh, it just tells you what the pickle config is. Right, oh my goodness, here we go. Yes, oh, right, okay. Got all manner of goodies here. Let's just have a read. I've got to stick my glasses on. So you've got, right, oh my goodness, that's a pull. It should be a push pull, but it's not. Why is it, that should be a push pull pot and it isn't? It just says on here it should be a push pull. Right then, now then, that's thrown me already. Just a regular pot in there, but it's got push and pull boost and all manner of goodness. Gain boost, lever position 2 and 4 level adjust, 9 volt battery, pickle switch, pickle switch. So that wiring diagram that's in there does not correspond to what is in the actual guitar. I'll tell you for why. There's only one push pull pot for starters, and that is a gain boost plus 20 dBs. That's fantastic. So when you whip into a solo, get a tap, boosh, screaming out. So okay, everything is all parallel. Right, okay. The 5-way does everything you expect it to. In the furthest away position or furthest to the right, it's full series humbucker. In here, this position, it's the 2 outside coils of each pickup. In the middle, it's both pickups on full in parallel. In position 4, it's both the inside coils, and in position 5, it's just the neck. So what does the push do? That's a volume boost. That is a boost. Right, okay, it is one push pull, that's right. Mono output, yeah, we get that. I don't know what it's on about here. Mono output, blah, 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 blah. No output with the battery, if there's no battery in there. Right. Oh, the battery's live if you plug an input in there. Doesn't say a lot on there, just an L3, BF4HH. So this is a big fat rabbit. I think BF4 stands for big fat rabbit. It actually doesn't, I've got no idea what it stands for, just made that up. So, let's have a look again. Guess again. Is that going to be a 4mm in there? Looks like a 4. Is it heck? Pulls it in. That's a 5 anyway. This is a 4. It's a 4. And with this 4, I'm just going to bring the tremolo up off the base a bit. See where we are with that. That was pretty good. Okay, I think with 2 claw springs, we're not going to have enough pull, but we'll soon see. I'm going to put another one back on. If I can stretch it that far. Can't stretch it that far, certainly can. Certainly can, Buster. So this is live from the moment I turn the camera on. We're basically working live here. So these trim pots, I'll just go online and have a look about that. See what all that's about. See where we are with this. Okay. We may just get it in tune with 2 springs. I'm going to try, I've certainly got to try. See where we are with this. Right, I'm thinking a little bit sharp. If I just alter these claw springs from behind, we'll get this dropped in tune. Top of the right screwdriver. And we'll see if we can get close. Should be able to. That's now in E. A's flat as a pancake. See where we are. If we can get it close to proper tuning. Take a bit of doing because we're doing this without, so we're not blocking the tremolo off properly. So that tremolo is now floating and we're properly in tune, or close to being in tune. Intonation is very, very close. So I don't think I'm going to have any problems with this. I think this is going to be fine. I've got the tremolo just floating there. Let me show you. It took me nothing to set that up floating. And I've got it in tune, just about, and I've got the intonation just about spot on. Now, I do think maybe it is possible I may have to just slightly adjust some of these springs, just a little bit. But what we're going to do is we're going to be changing the string gauge on here. We're going with a slinky top, heavy bottom, I believe. I hear you say, and rightly so. Why wouldn't you? So, I can't do anything with this guitar really till I've got the strings. But, as things are, got the intonation just about set. There should be a push-in thing here. Why is it? Oh, it is in there, right. Very, very light. So I can't do anything with it today. I'm going to go and order some strings, probably get them off Amazon because I can get them delivered by Prime tomorrow. Now, Mrs. Friend, my wife, is jetting off to Canada tomorrow, leaving me for 2 weeks. My visa didn't come, and I'm really annoyed about it because I applied for it 6 months ago. But hey ho, Mrs. Friend is going away, so I'm going to be me and the dog, just me and the dog for 2 weeks, bulked up together. Okay, friends. So I set the tremolo to where it should actually sit, or where it should be set, and that is how you set a tremolo on a fulcrum. On a fulcrum tremolo, you have it leaning forwards like that, and in the booklet it says to you on your G string, when you play a G, which should be a G, you should be able to bend it back to an A sharp. And that is an A sharp, and that is all the way back. So I've set that tremolo properly. Now the downside to this is having it set like that means the action is higher at the 12th fret. We are about 2mm. Now I already know that the owner of this guitar doesn't want the action that high, and that's unfortunate. That is just over 2mm. He's going to want an action of about 1.75. So I'm going to have to compromise where the tremolo sits, and with it, even though it's leaning forward there, like so, which is correct, I'm going to have it a bit more backwards, so it won't give him a full step and a half on the tremolo. Pulling back, it will probably get a step. That way though, the flatter I have this, the more difficult it is to set the intonation correctly. Now it's imperative that the intonation on any guitar is set correctly, otherwise you may as well just not bother. I mean, you heavy metal players might get away with the intonation being set wrong, that doesn't really matter. But you intricate players, you need the intonation set absolutely spot on. So I'm going to have to compromise a little bit on the string height, or what we call the action. So I'm going to have this angled back just a little bit more, you know, rather than being all that way forward. I'm going to bring it back a bit just to get the action to a low point above the 12th fret. I will set the neck a little bit straighter as well, so we get the action a little bit low. But end of the day, we are going to have to compromise. So that is what I'm going to do. There's no point me setting anything else up right now, because we'll be using a different gauge of strings when they come. We'll be using a heavy bottom, skinny top set. So there's no point me doing anything else on this. Like I say, it's going to have to be a compromise, action versus intonation, but the intonation is what I'll be setting first and foremost. I'll be getting the intonation spot on. Where the action is after that, that is where the action is. And if we can do something by having my neck a little bit straighter, rather than having any relief in there to get the action lower, then that's what we will do. But end of the day, I have to set the guitar so it's not buzzing anywhere. So first thing we're going to do is get the intonation right. Once the intonation's right, then we'll look at straightening my neck a little bit and getting the action as low as possible. As soon as we start getting any buzz, I'm going to let go of the truss rod a little bit more, get a little bit more relief in that neck. So it's going to be a balance. It is a balancing act. It always is a balancing act with all guitars. It's not just this one. And tremolos are finicky things, but if you stretch the strings in enough, there's no reason why a floating tremolo can't be perfectly in tune all the time. Even with heavy wham bar use, you really have to stretch those strings in. So we'll see what I can do when the strings come. I'll be back in, we'll have it all on camera, and we'll try and get this guitar set up the best we can. He's been saying there's nothing we can do with the guitar until we've got strings, and of course there is. We can check the frets. So, a not straight edge on there, making sure the neck is straight. Just check right scale length, 25.5 scale length on this. That neck is dead straight as it is, as it should be. With the tension off, the strings off, the neck should always be dead straight. So we're going to just quickly whiz across with fret rocker, because I just said to the client I would find out what condition the frets are in, so we can price it up. So far so good. No high frets anywhere. Not one high fret. Well, there you go. Ernie Ball, Music Man, I doff my cap. There are no high frets at all on this guitar. I think that is possibly only the second time ever I've had a guitar in and it's not had a high fret. That is fantastic news. However, they are flat frets. Personally, I'd have those recrowned, but no one's asked me to do that. I can ask Corey if he wants them recrowning. But if not, the whole setup is going to be £75. That's just for a setup with a tremolo setup. Blah 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 blah. So there you go, no high frets. That is fantastic news. So for our friends, we have the guitar on the bench. I've just slightly tightened the truss rod to get the guitar neck dead straight, and I'm going to check it again. There goes a little bit of back bow in there. I'd have thought by feeling how that, seeing how that feels on there. Okay, got a little bit of back bow on there. I need to remove that. Now this has got the wheel adjuster at the far side. I love these adjusters, they're so much easier. Just loosen off because I've just tightened it. There you go. There's about 1/32th of a turn there. I'm not going to touch the frets. There are no high ones. There are some indentations in there slightly. Still got some back bow in there. I need to get rid of that. So with the adjuster, yeah, we're just going to turn it back or slacken it off. Oh, that's tightening it. No wonder it's gone wrong road. Doing it the wrong way around, look. Let's have a look there. There you go. I was tightening it, not loosening it. No wonder I got back bow in there. Let that settle for a second. Small amount of relief in there, so I just need to tighten it a little bit more. So we're going to go from here to there and see where we are, because I want a straight neck. I've already got some back bow in there now with that. See where we are there. That feels good. I can tell. Okay, yep, that's good. So that's where we're going to set that. So we are going to stick on some new strings when I remember what I've done with them. What have I done with them? It's a very, very good question. I had them earlier. Here you go. I got the wrong strings last time, so I've had to keep them strings. I had to take the loss on those. I've gone and got these custom gauge stainless steel. Well, I wanted slinkies, but I could only get the stainless. So I'm going to have stainless steel, and these are a 946 set. So you've got a 46, 36, 26, which is off a 10 set, and a 9, 11, 16, which is off a 9 set. So they are hybrid. So what we need to do is we need to get the tremolo back in there, which is this wonderful thing. I don't think it can alter anything once it's back in the guitar, so I'm hoping we don't have to alter anything at all. So let's pour them in there. Lovely block on the back of these, look, that's beautiful. I'm almost don't want to put it in just yet, just because, but I have a choice. Now I actually like my tremolo straight in a straight line, but most people do it in this V shape, so I'm going to do it in the V shape, like so. And I'm going to set this tremolo angled slightly forwards like I showed earlier, but I'm not going to do it the whole 1.5 steps as Music Man recommend. I'm only going to do it about, might not even need 3 on there, might not need 2. I'm going to do it just 1 full step or 2 semitones. That doesn't need 3 in there, I'll tell you that. I don't think that needs 3. We'll go with 2 for now and see what we can do. Could remove the middle one, just leave it out for a short time. So I'm going to go with 2 springs and see where we are. So this is going to take me a short while to get the string. I'm going to get the strings on. With the strings on, yeah, and I know we had a problem with the intonation, didn't we? I may have to remove these springs on the saddles as well. Okay, the only thing I can really do is get it set up and see where it is, and then we'll have to decide if we need to alter any springs on here a little bit later on. It's more faff, it's going to take me more time than it normally would, but I'm going to get the strings on first. In fact, I think I might have a hybrid set knocking about. Just bear with me a second, because if I do, I'm going to use them on this guitar and as a throwaway pack. So what do we have here? What have we got here? No, they're no good. I don't have that hybrid set I was on about. I have a 1260 set. I have an 1154 set. 1052 set. What are these? 9.5, 44. They're close enough, aren't they? 1152. There's not a full set in there, I'll tell you that, is it? That flight rope strings, why are they in there? .52 slinkies in there. Right, that's it. I don't have a spare hybrid set, so I'm going to stick these on. Don't really have a choice, and hopefully they're still usable after I've piddled about with them. So like I say, I'm not going to stick them on now because I need to polish the frets, etc, etc. So that's the strings that will be going on later on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a little spray. Give the guitar a little spray. Do I have more gubbins there? Yeah, I have more gubbins there, which is fantastic. With some oil. Lemon oil, it is. It's actually mineral oil, but in the business it's called lemon oil. It's got no lemon in it, it's got some lemon essence to make it smell nice. But that's it. Right, and all we're doing is we're going to let this soak in the fingerboard while I polish the frets. And this is going to just basically get in and under any dirt. It's also going to nourish the wood slightly. Just take any of that top dryness out of it. I mean, we don't want it wet and not altering its shape, but we do want all the grime and dirt coming off it. So what I need to do in the meantime is I'm going to need to cover these pickups with tape because we don't want any filings on there on the steel wool. Put that piece on worse. just while I'm doing the polishing, pick up some more covered. I'll get any filings in there, and now I can just polish these frets. I'll leave that oil to soak in a short while. Basically, as long as it takes for me to polish the frets. I'm going to polish the frets with some superfine steel wool in a moment. So tidy it back up. So here we are. I need to grab me some fingerboard protectors. Like so. I'm going to get this done now. So polishing my frets, really easy. All I'm doing is, because I don't have to alter any frets or work on any frets, just gonna straight over with some superfine steel wool. It's going to take me a short time. Once that's done, I'll let the oil soak in a little bit more and I'll wipe that off. Get any gunk on there we'll get off. I'll remove the tape and we'll get some strings on it and we'll start setting this tremolo up. One thing that makes me worry a little bit about these frets is they're quite flat frets. They look like they've been flattened, levelled before, but not rounded over, not recrowned. I've just wiped all the oil off. And the actual crown bit is flat on the top, and it's quite wide. They're about 2mm, nearly 2mm wide. So I think this has been levelled, fret levelled before, and the frets have not been recrowned, and that's worrying. I'm going to get in touch with the owner because these frets to me look like they need crowning. And I don't want to send it back because he says he'll get buzz on it. And I don't want to send it back because the reason I'm getting buzz is these frets are flat. And I'm thinking of reprofiling these frets, and that is going to put, it's not only going to cost extra, it's going to put a lot more time on the job as well. So I'm going to drop him a message and ask him what he knows, and ask him if he wants me to recrown these frets, because, and then I'm going to charge for a refret, not a refret, I'm going to charge for a full fret level polish and strings, which is going to put his price up from £70–80 up to about £150. But I'm not happy about them frets at all. There's some scratches on them as well, and I'm not too pleased. So let me message the client and see what he thinks. So the client says it's not had a fret level to his knowledge, but he's not always had the guitar, he bought it used. Now I would bet my reputation on this, that this is at a fret level, but the frets have not been recrowned. But the frets are smooth. There are some scratches though going this way. They look like file marks going that way. So as much as I bet my reputation on it, what I'm going to do is I'm not going to do a fret profile, because he says it wasn't buzzing before he bought it to me, so it's not going to be buzzing after. So I'm going to leave it as it is, and I've said to him, look, I had to mention it because end of the day, I'm just giving you my opinion on what I think. These frets, it could just be wear, and that's all it could be. It could just be wear. But it's very odd that a guitar gets wear evenly across the whole length of the neck. Normally you get wear in one certain area, whether someone's a soloist up here or plays a lot of rhythm down here. But these frets are uniformly flat across the whole length of the neck. So pointing this out, I'm just going to go across again now with a fret rocker and just see where we are, because I don't think there are any high ones. High one there at 4. Did I tap them down? Can't remember. But these are absolutely fine. I can remember doing this now with a fret rocker. So level wise, now if they weren't buzzing before, they're not going to be buzzing when I've got a thing on. What I'm thinking is though, if these frets are flat, they may cause problems somewhere down the line. What I've told him is, I'd much sooner do a setup than a fret level, because the fret level is 4.5 hours work, the setup's hour and a half. and the price difference is massive. I don't make any money at all doing a fret level and profile, because it's 3-4 hours work. I charge 135 quid. I do a setup, hour and a half, for between 50 and 85 quid. So there's no money in fret leveling. And I'd much sooner do a setup with a fret level. I could do 4 or 5 setups a day. Could do 1 or 2 fret level, well, probably just 1.5 fret levels a day. Right, those frets are level. So I'm going to restring it as it is. And I've said, look, if down the line we need to come back and reprofile these frets, because they're level, what I'll do is I'll just whip strings off and I'll reprofile them, and I'll charge, not exactly off price, but I'll knock the money it's costing this time off. So I've charged him 70 quid for this. So I knock him off, what am I going to do, 70 quid there, I'll knock him off 150, I'll charge him 80 quid for a fret level. So I can't say any fairer than that. So I'm going to put this back together now, I'm going to get strings on, we're going to get this tremolo set up. Change of plan, guys. The client has got back to me and he said, reprofile the frets. So, what string, I only put 1 string on, so that was good. So what we're going to do is we are going to reprofile these frets. I'm going to get the neck straight as I possibly can. That looks pretty much, no, it's not, there's still a tiny bit of back bow in there. Keep going till we're dead straight. So now we've definitely got relief in there. So there's not, you hardly have to touch a truss rod, you know. You know, when you're altering a truss rod or moving a truss rod, do not go at it hammer and tongs and don't go mental. 1/32 of a turn is a lot on a truss rod. You hardly need to move them. Right, there is relief in there. Let's just go back just a touch. And don't ever say, oh, that's enough, I'll do. We don't do a that'll do with a truss rod. We get them absolutely right. I'm not coming to the right way now. I've confused myself. Right, okay. A little bit of back bow there. So we're just gonna, there you go. That is saying straight to me. 30 seconds. Tiny bit of relief at this end, but like I've always explained before, necks are never dead straight. We always go a little bit up and down along the length. We're only talking minuscule amounts. So I'm going to take that as dead straight. Or player straight. So I'm going to put the notches, just take them off the frets. I mean off over it. So we'll land. So we're resting right on top of the frets now, and we should have no gaps on the frets, and we haven't. So that is where we level the frets. So even though these frets are level, I'm still going to re-level them because there's a level and there's my level. So there's still a lot more work in this now. We'll let that settle for a short time. To do this, I think I'm going to remove a neck, because that way there's no fannying about or no faffing about. Now I need to check the spacing of the, you see, can't really do that. And are these, I think these are an insert as well. So So it's going to be difficult to set this. I might have to do it with on the guitar itself, you know. I'm not removing that nut, even though you should. That is going to be too difficult to remove that nut. It's a compensated. It's not the fainting system, is it? I'm not sure. But it's a weird nut, that one. It's basically got it's kind of staggered for the intonation. So we got a little bit of a bind. Now, believe it or not, my electric screwdriver, I took it home and I've not brought it in today. So I'm going to just remove these and just see where we are. We're putting this net. I think this maybe insert. So it's going to take me a while to do this. I think these are fitted to an insert rather than screwed straight to the neck, but I'm not sure. Oh, this is some work, isn't it? I've played a blinder here, haven't I? Let me have a look. The drill's not here either, so I don't think I can do this one today. Okay, they are a wood screw. So I can screw this or mount this on a piece of MDF, but I'm not going to do that. It's going to take too long. I'm going to have to level the frets or check the frets on the guitar body. So what I'm going to do is make sure that this guitar body is well protected before I take my leveling beam to it. I mean, like I say, the frets are level, but there's level and there's precision level, and this has to be precision level before I take anything onto the frets, before I start recrowning anything. So let's set her up there. So I just need to slightly move the camera. Bear with. I think that's quite just about good enough. Because obviously I need the guitar closer to me to work those frets. How we're looking there. That's not bad at all. Because when it comes to leveling frets, we are precision. So we need to make sure that this neck is dead straight. And like I say, they always go up and down along the length, so getting it dead straight is somewhat difficult. And what we do is we take a mean average. And you can tell by experience, you must tell by looking where it's straight. Now that has got some relief down this end, hardly any there. So I'm just gonna just alter that way, see where we are. Okay, take it back. Thinking about there's right. There's not a lot of area that changes things. Once you get close to straight, you need a tiny bit to alter anything. And that's looking like it's not right at all. Move that hardly any there, you see that? 5 degrees. Right, that is as near to straight as I can get it. So we're going to take that straight, we're going to whip across with a fret rocker, see where we are. I'm thinking that these frets are probably level. Now what, oh, here we go, it's here. I don't think I have to level these, because that was the thing with it, the frets were level when it came in. So we've not got level with them, but we do have to recrown. Now recrowning is going to be a bit of a mare with it on the guitar, because I'm working over the body here, and I don't want to work over the body, but I don't have anything I can screw this neck to. Well, I do, but I don't have any tools here. I don't have a drill. But the frets are level. I think we ascertained this early doors, didn't we? A lot earlier in the video. They are absolutely fine. Now the problem is, I've got to remove the neck to do them because I don't want to be working over this part of the body. That side's a little bit easier, but if I work just on the neck, so what we're going to do is I'm going to get this held in a cradle. I could even, I'll tell you what I can stick it on the vise over there and do the frets that way, we'll see. I'm going to do this half of the frets with the neck on the guitar. I'm going to do this half of the frets, I'm going to remove the neck to do so. That's it, that's what I can do. I can split the job into two parts. I'm going to drop these pickups, bring these pickups up, get rid of all the dust inside. There's a lot of dust each side of these pickups as well, so is it dust or is it reflection of the paint? Anyway, whatever, so I'm going to do half now. I'm going to remove the neck to do the other half. So the first half we can get done straight away. So let me get we need to remove all of the oil. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray fingerboard with some naphtha, which is basically it's Zippo lighter fluid, and that's going to bring out any oil or grease. Which I'm going to do right now. And the naphtha itself will evaporate, so I'm going to give it more than it needs. So it won't cause any damage to anything, but it will remove any grease. It'll dry that fingerboard out, so I can get some tape to stick to it. How's that for you? Don't anybody light a match? There's a lot of gaps between these frets. One of these frets. I wonder if it's ever been refretted. No, it doesn't look like it. Those frets don't look properly seated, but they must be, because I mean they're level. I would put my reputation on these that these have been levelled at some point in the past, because there are file marks going this way, and this and there, and there. These have definitely been levelled because there's 2 mil wide flat tops these are. So you'll get to see more of that when I get the pen on there. So what are we going to do with this? I think, therefore I am. Ah. Anyway, what else? So if we bang that on there, that's going to be a working platform. Now we need to tape up this fingerboard. So why don't I do that off camera? And I'm going to tape up the whole lot. What we need to do is side of the neck first. And so I'll do as much of this as I can today. There's no rush on this guitar. What I'll do is I'm just putting some tape along the side of the neck. And once that's done, tape up the fingerboard. Don't forget we're taping up the fingerboard, but leaving the frets exposed. So before anything, we make sure we are as straight as can be. Now we know the frets are level, so we shouldn't need to alter anything on here. That is straight. I'm happy with that. So what we're going to do is tape up fingerboard. And how we do that is like so. Let them strips on the edge, just helps us remove it easier later. So I'm going to do this along the length of the neck. until I get to fret 12. I'm going to do up to fret 12 on the guitar, then I'm going to remove the neck and do the rest with the neck in a vise. So while I get this done, you're going to do something and come back in a bit. Well, you don't have to because this will be continuous, but I'm going to stop for now and get this all taped up. Okay, so I'm going to show you what was my concern. You're going to see it now. So these, we know the frets are level. What I'm going to do is I'm going to mark the tops of these frets, and you're going to see the problem I had with these flat tops of the frets. And they are flat across the top, about 2mm wide, which is too much. We want the string to hit the top of the fret, but not too wide. If it's too wide, we're going to get buzzing, or if we're not getting buzzing now, we're going to definitely get it later. So what we need to do is we need a thin line, or probably 1/2 millimetre, or probably a little bit less of fret exposed. So that crown, it's a little bit flat on the top, we're going to re-crown like that. And nowadays, we don't have to use a 3-cornered file like we used to. We have all these great inventions. And this is probably my favourite Stumac file. It's original, it's called a Z file or a Z file or whatever. And it's got 2 cuts. And close, it's a diamond file, so it's diamond coated file. It's smooth but diamond coated. And closest to it has a shallow long cut and a short steep cut on the far side. You turn it 180 degrees and it's got the opposite in the opposite configuration. And what this does is, this will not touch the top of your fret, but it will remove material from each side of the fret at the same time. So what we're going to do is, because we know the level, we don't need to remove anything from the top. So using this file, we must always make sure it's clean. Using this file, we're going to use this, and it's going to give us, if I just hold the neck there, and I'll show you what exactly. It's much better to show you than it is to explain. That's made 2 cuts, turn it over 180 degrees. You should now see a thin black line down the centre of that fret, and that's what we're after, because that's what the string's going to, instead of touching the whole of the fret now, or 2mm of it, it's now going to touch that 0.4 of a millimetre down the centre there, look, and that's it. That is how we re-crown the frets. But this is re-crowning. This is not where all the time is. Let me just do another one for you. It's not finished yet, by the way. A lot more work on this fret yet. Remember to flip it 180 degrees. And there you go. And we have a lovely thin black line right down the middle of that fret. Now we're not finished there. Like I say, remember always to clean the file. We're not finished here. We're then going to use a crowning file. Now this has the same shape, it's the same shape as the actual crown itself. So this is an arced file. Again, it's a diamond file, diamond encrusted file there. And we've got a medium size and a jumbo size. And all we're doing with this is, I'm not going to go over the top, I'm just going to go over the sides. Each side, just to remove any inconsistencies, or if we've got anything not quite rounded off. And then we're just going to go up there, down there, up there and down there, and that's those 2 frets done. We've got a thin black line right down the centre. So where it was flat at the top before, we've now re-crowned those 2 frets. I'm going to crack on. I've got plenty more to do yet, but always clean your file after a fret, because you'll be surprised how much stuff gets on there. So again, one more time. This is my Z file. This is the one that cuts the edges. Flip it over 180 degrees. And there you go, lovely thin black line down the middle of that fret. If you can't see it, I'm going to show you in a minute. I'm going to go back to the jumbo fret, the crowning file, should I say. And there you go. So that's 3 done. And I'm just going to, I don't know if you can see those lines or not, so I'm just going to lift the guitar up. You may just see those 3 thin lines. Hopefully, there. Thin black line down the centre. And that's what we're looking for on all of the frets. So I've got the rest of them to do, so I'm going to crack on and get that done. Once that's done, we've got to come back, we've got to polish these frets, and polishing them is a totally different thing altogether. That's where the time is. So same as before, other than I've now got the neck off the body. These I was able to do with the body on because nothing was getting in the way, but once we got to this area, the body started being in the way of the fret. So I decided to get this all clamped up or in the vise and just finish these last 10 off over here. So exactly the same job with exactly the same files when I grab hold of them. Got the Z file and the crowning file. I'm going to do exactly the same work, just doing it over here. So nothing else to see really. I'm going to bring you back in when I'm ready for the polishing. Okay guys, so I've re-crowned all of the frets. I've checked them for level with a fret rocker. They are level. Well, we knew they were level anyway. We have that thin black line down the centre of each fret where we've re-crowned them, because we've been quite flat on the top. We've re-crowned them, given them that shape going that way. So what we need to do now is we need to get all of the scratches out of them. And we've filed them that way, we've levelled that way. So what we need to do is we need to remove these deep scratch marks. I'm going to use some 400 grit. Now this 400 grit is different to these 6 grits here. I'll tell you about these 6 in a minute. 400 grit is a lot more coarse paper, and this is going to remove all of the scratches, or at least give us a head start ready for polishing. And it's just a matter of just going over, well, I'm going to go over the tops with this, and it's fabulous. It's really, because it's such a good sturdy sandpaper, it removes all of them. So what we're in effect doing with this is removing all of that pen, because if the pen's gone, the deeper scratches have gone. And once that's all done, it's going to take me a while. Once that's all done, I'm going to go through with 6 different grits of sandpaper, and we have got, that'll be the first one we use, 800, 600, I've got this in reverse order, I'll stack it in reverse order, 1000, 1200, 1500 and 2000. So we're going 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 15, 20. That's 400 grit to 2000 grit. It's going to take me a while to get all this done. I'm going to put some gloves on in a minute. I normally do it with gloves on. But we're just going to start with this one. Once we've done, finished with that one, when we start with the next one, we just start, I actually start from the opposite end and work my way down. And we're just coming in with a little piece of the paper, and we're just straight across the top. And we're going through with 7 grits total. By the time I've gone through all 7 grits, a lot of time would have passed, and these frets will be scratch free and polished. They won't be highly polished. We're to finish off a high polish with some fine grade or super fine steel wool, but that one is already looking a lot better than it was. So I'm going to crack on and get the gloves on, which I've got here. I'm going to crack on, get some music on. I'm going to crack on, get this done. It's going to be a while before I finish this up, so I will come back a little bit later on when I'm ready to finish with the steel wool, and we'll get these up to a beautiful shine. I'm just finishing up on these frets. We've gone through with the 7 grits of paper, 400 through 2000. And I'm just finishing off with superfine steel wool. If you want to know the grade, it's grade 0000, this steel wool. It's the finest you can get. I've just got 3 frets to do. Get your steel wool like this. Hold your neck if it's not in a vise, and just straight over the top, making sure you get into the corners each side. And straight over the top again. And they are stunning. So what we've done is we've levelled, re-crowned and polished these frets. The guy says it wasn't buzzing before, but I wasn't happy with how flat the frets were, and I didn't want to bring it back in 2-3 months time saying it's buzzing everywhere. There was a 1.5 to 2 millimetres of flat top on these frets. They were really that bad. But now the cross section is that perfect semicircle, as you'll see. But let's have a look at these frets. How beautiful are they? They are now done. So what we need to do now is remove the tape, and now you'll see why I put a strip that way down the length, because it helps us remove it easier. It is low tack, but it still does stick really well. So we take off what we can, and it can be a little bit tricky, but you know, it does help. I'll take a glove off, that's not helping me at all. It's not helping me one bit. there you go, and we should be able to remove most of this quite easily now, because we've given ourselves a start. We've still got all of the board, so the board's not going to look spectacular just yet. So let's see where we are going this way. There you go, that's not too bad, is it? We're giving ourselves a good start there. That's not too bad. A few more bits to remove, we can just get straight in. And much easier without gloves. So we're going to oil the board as well to bring that up to the same spec as the frets. Lovely piece of wood, this neck. See, we've got all that residue now on the guitar. It doesn't want to come off, so we're going to have to get some white spirit or something on this neck, get rid of all that glue gunk. So I shall do that right now. So get rid of that, get rid of that. Wood can go, steel wool can go, that's all finished. That can go. So this gunk we've got left on here, we're going to get some white sprit on there, I'll get rid of that. And I can just grab a cloth. And that's gone already, that's sticky, we'll just wipe that off. And then we're going to oil up the board, like so. And that is just mineral oil. You call it lemon oil, it's actually mineral oil with some lemon essence added to it to make it smell nice. It's not lemon oil at all. And there you go, this is just to clean up the fingerboard. I'll leave this on 10 minutes. Let it get in and under any dirt that may be left on there. There's a lot of oil on there, probably overdone it a little bit, but let's put some on the neck while we're here. And there you go, we'll give that 5 minutes, 10 minutes. But look at that. Looks absolutely stunning, that's brilliant. Once that oil's dried a little, when I've wiped it all off, we're going to put the neck back on the guitar and we can get it set up. Okay guys, so after all of the fretwork, put set strings on. I've gone with Ernie Ball custom gauge stainless steel hybrid slinkers. He says he wanted hybrid slinkers. He didn't say whether he wanted stainless steel or nickel. I couldn't get nickel, I could only get these, so these had to go on. So what we're doing is we're looking at setting this tremolo leaning forwards or bent forwards just a little. So I have the guitar or the tremolo, some business cards packed underneath. I'll try and show you the angle, which might be quite difficult because I might have to punch the guitar through the wall, but I'm going to show you the angle I'm going to set it at. So if you have a look at the bridge right there, that's the angle I'm setting the bridge at. I've got the springs in the back tightened more than they normally would be, so it's pulling right back onto those business cards, which is great. And now if I tune it in and set the guitar, set the strings properly, set the action, set the radius, and set the neck, the amount of relief in the neck, we can get it all tuned in. And once it's tuned in, when we remove his business cards, everything's going to go sharp. All we're going to do is we're going to loosen those claw springs at the back, and that's going to leave us in perfect tuning with the tremolo in the position we want it in. So if this is the body, this side, say this is the neck, there's the body, there's the neck. At the body end, we're going to have a tremolo leaning slightly forwards, probably enough to bend back a semitone or half a note. So what I've done is I've set the two outside strings as low as they will go. I'll probably just get one just a little bit lower. What we're going to do is we're going to measure the radius. Now I've not checked the radius on this, so I'm going to presume it's something like quite flat, something around about a 12. I don't know off the top of my head, so we'll have a look. We'll give it a go with a 12, see where we are. So radius gauge, 12-inch radius gauge there, under the strings. That's it, slide it underneath and see where we are with that. That is as close to 12 as you could probably get it. I would say that is a 12-inch radius. If anyone knows any different, give me a shout. But I'm going to check a 10 next to it. No, it's definitely not a 10. So I'd go with a 12. So I'm going to set the radius here at 12. Now what I've done is I've set the two outside strings as low as I can go with the tremolo in that position, and all being well I'm going to check the strings. Right, so what we're going to do is each string here we're going to drop onto the top of it. These are all higher than they need to be, these strings, so we're going to drop each one onto the top of this radius gauge, and that then will match the radius of the neck. So we're just going to loosen these, and we need to keep these saddles straight. We don't bend them round in an arc like some people do. Just need to set them straight, and that one is now just about where it needs to be. We're high on this one because we want to match the radius at the bridge, radius of the neck at the bridge. So we're good there. Still high on these strings 4 and 5. And once we've got them where they need to be, we'll set these saddles straight in a minute and get it all tuned back to pitch in a minute. So, two outside ones are already set, so we just need to drop each string onto the top of the radius gauge. Still a little bit high. This one. A bit high on these two, only a little. Don't need to go a stupid amount. When it comes to setting up a guitar, a little is a lot. So now we've got all of the strings resting on top of radius gauge, so we have everything set to that 12-inch radius. So this 12-inch radius here, we now match it at the bridge. 12-inch radius, which is wonderful. So each string is the same height above the frets. Bring it back to pitch, or close to pitch for now. A bit of buzz on that D. Looks like that D is a bit close to the first fret there. It's buzzing somewhere, I'm not sure where. It's probably going to be on the bridge. So I'm going to bring this up just a little bit more. Maybe to put some more relief in the neck. Bring this up a tad. So I want these saddles all straight. I don't do them in an arc. Some people do them in an arc going that way. I've never done that. You need to set them straight. The arc is made by at the centre of each saddle. So there you go, so that looks alright. Now we've got rid of that buzz on the D. Brought it a little bit higher, you see. So now, the radius of the neck is now matched at the bridge. We're not in tune, we knew that. We're just going to check the action, because this is as low as I can get it. And we are about 1.7 on the bass side, which is absolutely fine. We're down a little bit low on the treble side, we're down to 1 millimetre. So what I may do is, I may just alter. In fact, I'm going to bring the outside one up. I'm going to bring the more treble strings a little bit higher, because I don't want to alter the tremolo as it is, because that's exactly where I need it to be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this one up a little. only a little. I'm not going to go mad. I'm going to bring everything up a quarter of a turn, right up to the third string. And that should maintain the radius just about. I'll check it again anyway. Let's just see where we are there. I'm going to measure the treble side again. 1.25. Well, we're just about 1.4 on the treble side, 1.7 on the bass side, which is a lot better. That D's buzzing, I've got no idea why. I think it's buzzing on the bridge side. I've got no idea why that would be buzzing. That's better. There's obviously something icky on the bridge there, on the saddle, so that's fine. So we're going to check the radius again. You come to learn in time that you're always checking things a lot of times when you're setting up a guitar. Right, so where are we there? That one's a little bit high. That's perfect. High. Oh, everything's a little bit high again according to that. So I'll turn everything back just a little. With that. And what I'm also going to do is put a little bit more relief in the neck in a little while. So again, just check the tuning again. I still need to stretch the strings in, by the way. That D, listen. It's actually okay now. I don't know where that buzz was coming from. Just better hope that disappears. Could be the nut. I'm not cutting these nut slots because all these strings are low enough. Don't need any attention on there. Maybe on the E and the A, but the rest of them are absolutely fine. So, with the tremolo set where I want it to be set, the guitar in tune, I'm going to set the relief in the neck just now, see if I need any relief in there or any more relief. I want the neck pretty flat, and that is pretty flat, so I'm quite happy with that as it is. I'm just going to drop it back just a mite, and that's it. That's about a 32th of a turn. There you go. And that's about 0.15 relief in the neck there, or 0.2. I'll check it with a feeler gauge. I do like around about 0.2, 0.25. 0.2 is fine. 0.15 is alright. So all I need to do once this is done is I need to stretch the strings. So I'm going to go in at the 7th fret. .2. 0.2 at the 6th fret, that's fine. Let's try 0.15 at the 7th. not like about 0.2, but if I have 0.2, then we're going to have that means the bridge is going to be higher. And the guy wants a really low action on this guitar, so I'm going to set it less than I normally would. 0.15. And it is still less than that. We'll leave it there and see how it plays. So the ringing is coming from here, from the saddle. It's not there now. Okay, that's okay. So I'm going to stretch these strings in. Once it's stretched in, I'll bring you back in and we'll finalise this setup. One thing I forgot to mention was the intonation. We were having problems with it. Well, I wasn't having problems with intonation, but the client was. But once I fiddled about with the guitar a little, I got the intonation more or less set. Now, I've just been checking it again. The E and the A are fine. Bear with me. If anything, that's a little flat, so we can just shorten that scale length on the high E. Push it back out. That's good. Okay, we need to shorten that even more. That's surprising. We may need to check the radius again in a short while. A little bit short, so we've gone back a little bit too far. That's fine, we'll just tighten her up a little. But we're certainly a lot closer than we were when the guitar came into the workshop. So how I set the intonation is, because I'm looking at it this way, this is the right side, this is the left side. If the fretted note at the 12th is flat, 4 letters, I have to move the saddle to the left or towards the neck, which is 4 letters. So left and flat are 4 letters, but if I have to move to right, because it's sharp, sharp and right are 5 letters, should I say, not 4. So if it's sharp, you go to the right, both 5 letters. If it's flat, you go to the left, both 4 letters. And that's the way I've always remembered it. Perfect. A little bit sharp, so we just need to go as much as we can. We're right at the end of where we can go on this one. We can't move that saddle anymore, so it's what it is here. It's as close as we can get it. A little bit sharp on the high E, so we just need to lengthen that a little bit more. And that should be about right. So that's it, we've got the intonation set perfectly, bar the D string, we just can't quite get it there. We can't just quite get it there, just there. That is as much as we can. I'm going to just let that off a little bit because we're a little bit sharp there now, which is fine. Still a little bit on the sharp side. We need to come as far as we can on this D. We can't do anything other than, I've had some right the way back, I can't move that anymore. So we don't have enough adjustment on that D string. I wonder if I remove the spring and shorten that spring. I think it's what I'm going to have to do. I'm going to remove the D string, I'm going to shorten the spring in there, I'm going to change that spring over because I can't move it back enough. If I shorten the spring I can move it back further and get the intonation spot on, so I'm going to have to do this one again. So I might as well show you how I do it. So working live. D string. What we're going to do is remove the saddle. Now the problem is with this is I can't move the saddle back enough because the spring, when it's all coiled up super tight, it's creating a stop. So I cannot move the saddle back enough. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to shorten this spring. And I'm not going to actually shorten it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to replace it with one of my own. We need to get this all the way out. Right, and there you go. And there is the, hopefully I can get the screw out. There's the spring. Do I have anything magnetic? Let's go with this. So that's the spring there. Can you see that? That's the spring, and it's that kind of size. And when it's coiled up, it's creating too much. I can't get the saddle back enough, so I'm going to find a spring somewhere. I do have springs somewhere. I've not got a clue which drawer they're in. They're definitely in one of these drawers up here. This could take me a while. They will be on a level with the screws, I imagine. So I may have, here we go, springs are in this one. So I'm going to get myself some similar size like this stuff here, but I'm going to cut it a lot shorter. So what I'm going to do is I've cut myself a very small spring like so. I'm going to replace that once twice as long with this. So and that is going to give me enough adjustment. I hope it gives me enough adjustment. Right, we need to get this beauty right back on there, which is fine. That's gone straight in, that's good. And I'm going to adjust this all the way back. And I should be able to get this saddle further back with this spring. Is that enough? Is the question. I don't think I've taken enough off, you know. I'm going to take a little bit more than that off. I'll take another ring off that spring. It's quite a thick spring, you see. So, you know, very surprising. Though, that said, gone with a hybrid set of strings, maybe that makes a bit of a difference. It shouldn't make that much difference though. So I'm going to take another ring off of this spring here. That's half. Right, take another ring off it. So that should now give me enough to get that saddle right back. Bit of a palaver, but you know, it's not the first time I've had to do this. This will work. Certainly got it far enough back now. Right, guys. We don't like rethreading string. We don't like taking off locking tuners because it normally creates a weak point on the bend. And you go and tighten it up again, it snaps. So it's going to snap anyway, that's where it's going to snap. That's why I like to just put one coil round when we're using locking tuners. I myself don't use locking tuners. So just going to stretch that string in again. When I stretch them in, I mean stretch them in. Get them stretched so there's no stretch left. There you go. So that is ringing a nice D. In fact, it's ringing a tiny, tiny D sharp. It's still sharp. Try and get this tighter. Ah, there you go. That's as tight as it will go. That's half a cent. It's the tiniest bit sharp. It's that much sharp on the G's now sharp, so we're going to move this one as well. Keep checking everything again. 16 sharp. So let's lengthen that again a little bit more. Perfect. So it's just the D. And that's it, it's there. It is that much an oomph. Should I take another coil off that spring? You know what, let's get it right. So the springs too thick to get this D right, especially with this set of strings. I'm going to take another coil off. And it should just give me the right amount of adjust. End of the day, your intonation, sometimes some people need it spot on, because once you start playing higher up, you're going out of tune again. Now, this wouldn't have been audible, the amount it would have gone out of tune there. But you're still going to know. And I'd rather get it spot on, get it right. Okay, so let's try and get this bit out again. I don't want getting off a coil off of this. There's only 3 coils. Okay, let's see where we are. Gotcha. That is the smallest spring I've ever installed on a guitar. Look at that. That is going on there. This is going to work, guarantee it. That's far enough back. I can tell you that is definitely far enough back now. Right, check again. And that is it, that's as far as I can go. We're there, spot just. I need to stretch the string a bit more. That I can't adjust anymore. That's it, but sadly as far that way toward the body end of a guitar as it can go. Perfect, we're there. So I'm going to stretch these strings in again. Once it's stretched in again, I'm going to bring you back. I'm going to show you how we set this tremolo. It's already where we need it to be. I'm just going to check the radius again, check the action at the 12th again, and then we'll come back and I'll show you how to set this properly. Okay, so how do we set the tremolo correctly? Once we've set everything up, got it where we need it to be, knowing that when we pull these business cards out from under the tremolo, everything's going to pull back and everything's going to go sharp. That's because we tightened this claw spring, or the claw that the springs are held onto, we tightened it right up so it gave us enough pullback so the bridge wouldn't move when we set the tremolo. So, guitar is now in perfect tune, it's perfectly set up. So I can hear that's in tune. So we're going to remove these business cards from under the tremolo. I'll just show you where I mean, for those of you that don't know. These business cards, we're going to move them out of the way. But when I move them, everything's going to pull sharp, because now the tremolo has pulled flat again to the body. So now every single thing on the guitar is mile sharp. Listen to this, I'll play a D. That doesn't sound good at all, does it? So what we're going to do is we're going to plug the tuner back in. And to get this bridge back to the position where everything's in tune, everything's right, we just need to loosen these two screws until we're going to drop the A string back in tune. And once the A string's back in tune, and if the springs are all level at the back, everything else should drop into tune. So I've got to do it in a playing position. And I'm just going to loosen these claw springs a lot. If I can get my screwdriver in. So it's going to take me a while to do this, but we'll soldier on. It's because it's a difficult angle. Try something different. So we'll see where we are now. We're at a good A sharp, so we're going to keep loosening, and we need to loosen each screw out the same amount. We're getting there. We're within half a note. We're getting close. That is an A. D still sharp. Everything else is still sharp. So, just need to come back further. We can always retighten the A string. Just a little bit out. That looks pretty good. So, I think we're going to be just about there. So, E, a little bit flat. I need to just move these a tiny bit. We're a tiny bit. We're not. I mean, it's nothing. Check again. So we are now in tune. The bridge is set how it was when we had it all locked back. So we've got forward and backward movement there. The claw spring is straight. We've got the guitar in tune. I've got a lovely low action, by the way. I altered the action just a little. We are at 1.65 on the bass and 1.5 on the treble. I have 0.2 millimeters relief at the 5th and 6th frets. So that is it. This is all done. I just need to get the back on the guitar and we'll come back and we'll tie this video up. we are all finished with this Music Man L3 or Lukather LIII. What a beautiful, beautiful guitar. I mean, look at the wood on that neck there. Isn't that fabulous? So, what we've done to it? Well, it came in, just needed a good setup. And that was really it. It had a problem with the intonation. I've got the intonation right, but I have had to adapt one of these screws on the D string or the third string from the top. Look at the intonation screw there. The spring is tiny because I couldn't get the saddle back enough. Maybe because the lad couldn't do it properly himself, he wasn't setting the tremolo bent forwards like that, and you have to do it on these. So we've got the tremolo nicely floating now. We've got a lovely low action. Something I noticed going through though, the frets were very flat, and I brought it up where I let the client know, and I said, look, they're really flat. I say, rather than bring it back in a few months when your strings start buzzing, should we reprofile those frets now? And where there was flat frets before, we've now got that lovely crown on there, so it's going to last for years now. So that job's done. So it's something else we did. It wasn't in the original budget, but it's something we've done. We've put in. So we've had a complete fret profile. So we had a mini fret level, complete fret profile, complete polish on the frets. So we've reworked all of the frets. The nut doesn't need touching. We've checked every nut, bolt, screw, and what have you. We've reset the tremolo, and we've checked everything over. Everything's now working, and yeah, what a beautiful thing. Push pull on there, and there you go. How good is that? What a beautiful thing. One thing I also noticed is there is a neck shim in there. It came from a factory like that, a plastic neck shim cut to size. It's on this end, so it's angling my neck slightly back. So again, that's to sort out the problem with having the action not quite right on the bridge. So this is all set and ready to go. The bridge is floating. So you've got backwards movement and full downwards movement. Beautiful looking thing, lovely locking tuners on there. What a classical looking and now playing guitar. It's a fabulous, fabulous thing. So all ready to go. Just one thing left for me to do, and that's to remind you of my website. And the best place, as always, is Facebook. Facebook.com/NG17. That's Facebook.com/NGONESEVEN. I am Victor. I'm your fret friend. And until the next time, as always, God bless you. Be good to each other. And I'll see you all in the next one.